everybody. I'm Leslie Maple. I'm the Executive Director of Institutional Advancement and Communications for Great Basin College, and also a board member for the Chamber.
I am Brian Riley. I represent I'm on the board of the Art Club. We have an art store downtown. I do jewelry. I have samples there. I'm also the vice chairman of the TV district. So, 2 members of the board.
I'm Travis Whitehouse. I'm the office manager at Ledgestone Hotel.
I'm Michelle Moda. I'm the GM for the same hotel in Ledgestone.
I'm Sue Bradford. I have Journeys Around the World Travel, so a travel agency out in Spring Creek.
Christina Leon, I'm the GM at PAC.
Kathy Grubens, the club manager at PAC.
I'm Hank Thurston, the chief executive for Thurston Laboratories.
I'm Amelia Harden. I go by Amy. I work with Thurston Laboratories. I'm the senior lab technician.
And she told me earlier she's been there for 16 years.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm Billy Crapo. I am the CEO of the Chamber. I have been with the Chamber now for 19 years.
Katie Ashley, I'm the membership support coordinator here at the Chamber. Off and on for 5-6 years.
Back and forth.
Back and forth.
She took a break.
Yeah.
And she came back.
My name is Hayley, and I own Hayley's Indigo downtown. And we are just going into 28 years of business, which is crazy. Yeah, but I'm super grateful. So it's been a good ride.
I love that store. It smells good every time you go in there.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
I think that's the best compliment is when people come in going, oh my gosh, it just feels and smells so good. You know, it's like, that's what we want.
It's a very comforting smell.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and just talk about a few things that the Chamber has coming up, because we always have a million things coming up. But I will talk first. Business Before Hours is going to be at Great Basin Beauty Supply, and they are now located in Cimarron Building, staying with Sierra Java. Right, so they'll be right next. I think they're going to be working with them for the event as well. So Great Basin Beauty Supply will be June 12th for Business Before Hours. June 19th is going to be at Ruby's. They just did a remodel, and so you can see all the good changes in there. They will also be representing all of their businesses that evening, so it will be Ruby's, Plumline, PAC, and A Plus Total Care. So all 4 businesses will be represented that evening, and they're going to have some great prizes and all the good things. So we're very excited to have them joining us as well. But we do have, because the DBA dissolved and the Chamber absorbed all of that, so we are going to have our first walk as the Chamber, the Island Breeze Cocktail Walk on June 14th. So we're super excited for this event and for people to get downtown to do some things. Ruby's will be the starting place. We just like to be able to have somebody come in one door and out the other, so the flow of traffic goes well. So they're going to be doing that. Lori has also hired Dew Tide to play music at every single one of the walks. So at registration from 4 to 7, they'll be playing live music there as well. We're going to give leis to the first 300 people that are through the door. So we have a little gift. We're looking at the numbers are coming in on all the participants. So we're looking at probably having at least 25 stops. And then we'll also include 2 different water stations. One will have liquid death water, which is the flavored carbonated waters, and then we'll have another just water station so we can keep people hydrated. We have 2 food trucks confirmed downtown as well, the Tasty Truck and the Good Bite. So we'll have some snacks down there, and I'm working with Event Source. We possibly will have their axe throwing trailers. So we'll have some different things going on downtown following the walk. But Summer is going to have their outdoor concert at the Star. So tons of things happening downtown on June 14th. So we hope you can join us for that. Like I said, it's our first event, so we're very excited about it.
And dress up.
And dress up, because we will be doing best dress contest. We'll have all the details on how you do that, a little bit different than they've done in the past, where you submit your photos. So we'll have QR codes and all that kind of thing. And the winner gets $100 in chamber checks for dressing up. So I think it's just gonna be a fun evening to get out. It goes from 4 to 7. And then we also have our beer festival coming up on June 27th, so that's gonna be a Friday evening. It is our 15th annual, so 15 years we've been doing Beer Fest now. We have some changes coming up. We have Dew Tide and Muddy Boots both performing that evening, so we have two bands. We do have our cornhole tournament that has a little twist because the actual Twisted Tea company is sponsoring our cornhole tournament. So they're gonna have their, the actual Twisted Tea rep that she's going to be there that evening, and we're gonna be doing a bunch of different prizes and fun things going on for the cornhole tournament. We also will be doing a chamber check giveaway. So the tickets are $25 a ticket or 5 for $100, and we're giving away $1,500 in chamber checks for our 15th anniversary. So that's a chunk of change that you could win for a $25 ticket. So we're excited about that. Everything I love about chamber checks is it's just staying right here in our community, staying right here local. We're at over $14 million that we have kept in chamber checks in our community. So we're super excited about that. We will also have axe throwing. Las Brisas will be there, so your ticket price includes dinner with Las Brisas. And trying to think, what else do we have going on? Just so many fun different things, and so we're very excited for our 15th anniversary. It'll be back here in our parking lot like normal, and so tickets will be going on sale soon for that as well. And then June 26th, we will have our next Lunch and Learn. It will be on marketing and social media. I just don't know who's hosting it yet, but we will have that. And then July 26th, we will be having our Sherman dinner and auction. And that all the funds raised at that auction, so we have live auction, we have silent auctions, we have raffles, we have dinner. The Star is catering for us this year, and we have open bar. So all the drinks and everything, tickets are $75 a person. Every penny that we raise that evening goes to the repairs and maintenance of this building. So we have projects going on right now. We're getting all the buildings re-oiled. We just had Nevada Gold Mines come in and rebuild us a barn door, in-kind donations, so we only had to buy supplies. We have some other projects that are gonna be happening, and so we appreciate everybody coming and support that so we can take care of our beautiful building.
What does the chamber do for you?
And then Katie is continuously out there, not only signing up new members, but she is open to meet with anybody that wants to talk about their benefits, if they just want a refresher, to go over all of the different things. And of course, we just appreciate all of our chamber members that keep us going and letting us do great things. So I'm gonna turn it over to Hayley, and she's going to teach us about customer service, because I will tell you, when you walk into Indigo, you get the best customer service.
All right, you guys, so I have notes because it keeps me on track. Who knows how many of the things I will talk about. It's like, we'll just start talking. So one of the reasons I love knowing where people are from when we do Lunch and Learns is because then we can address things specifically to you and your business. When we know better, we can do better. And I think that we take for granted some of our experiences that are continuously good. It's only when we have a bad experience that we're like, what just happened? And I'm telling everybody I know. And it's one of those things that we get to just be aware of. And then, how do we extend, or how do we complement what we are doing, how we are showing up? What is our role in customer service is also being a good customer. It's not just about the service that we offer to other people, but it's like, how do we show up as a customer? And are we, a hard person to get along with? Or do we just need more clarity? Are we asking questions? Are we showing up in our best light? All right, so 3 things that we're going to talk about today is being consistent and personalized experiences. Everybody wants it to be catered to them. Just like I said earlier, it's like everything that we do is what's in it for me. Everything. And so if we have that in mind when we're trying to come up with something or doing a new service or showing up in the community, it's like, what's in it for my customer? What's their experience going to be? How am I going to leave them wanting more? The other one is, if we're going to deliver some kind of a promise, or this is what we do, and we don't, we need to own it. And really, when somebody gives us, and I'm going to say customer feedback, it's an opportunity for us to grow and get better and to learn from it. And so many times we take it personalized. Oh, well, really? What? Well, did you see what they did? It's like, no. What just happened? Like, why is it showing up? And how can we really address it? So business equals connection equals dollars. There are a lot of businesses that are out there, and you guys probably have some of them that you continue to go to over and over and over. And I'm asking you why. Why do you keep going back? Anybody?
The connection you build with those individuals.
The way you make them feel, right? Or the way you feel when they are around you. Okay, what else?
Reliability.
It's always the same. Sometimes the service isn't as good as we want it, but when we get what we're asking for, so like at a restaurant, if it's consistently the same, we're coming back, every single time. We'll even pay a little bit more knowing that if I'm gonna spend the money, it's going towards something that I can count on, right? Okay, what else? What else keeps us coming back?
The way it makes you feel.
The way it makes you feel. Yep. Okay, what did you just say?
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere, yes. Having a place where people feel comfortable and that they're not a burden, but they're actually somebody that is more of a blessing, right? It's like, I'm so grateful that you're here. Whether you buy or not, or whether you book or not, or whether you have had that trip or whatever, or gone to the gym and keep coming back or not, it doesn't matter. It's like when I'm there, I feel good. And even if it's once a year, guess where I'm coming back to? Where I felt welcome. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you for everybody for coming, because there's a lot of things that you could be doing otherwise. And hopefully today you're going to go away with at least maybe one thing. They're going, okay, I get to show up differently that way. And so, I started my customer service journey when I was about 14 years, well, probably even younger, probably 9 or 10 when I started babysitting. It's like when I would babysit for people, I would make sure that the dishes were done, that the kids were happy, that I did exactly what I was supposed to be doing, right? And then I went into, waitressing and different things. And I'll tell you what, if you want to learn customer service, waitressing is a great place to start, right? Because it's hard. And you have unhappy customers, because even if you get the best customer service as a waitress, if the food is awful, they take it out on the waitress. There's a story that I want to share with you guys about, and this was on social media. I posted it a while back, but it was like a man and his wife went to a restaurant, and the restaurant wasn't very busy. And I know just from being a waitress, when you're really busy, you probably give better service because you're on it, like you're just doing it. But when you're not, you have time to kind of break and kind of get relaxed and maybe check your phone or, just kind of hang out. Well, this gentleman and his wife got really poor service. And they said, we could see that the gal was just kind of sitting around. They were talking with the kitchen help and, all the stuff. Well, when it came time to leave a tip, they wrote on the bottom of the tip, "You can do better," and left nothing. Well, at first when the waitress got that, she was like all upset. She's like, well, I served, I didn't think. And then she took a step back and she said, wait, could have I done better? And she said, I learned so much from that experience, is that everybody deserves good customer service, whether I'm busy or not. And so what a great experience for her to have. And had they tipped the normal, you're supposed to have a certain amount that you just tip regardless, which, when I was waitressing, I knew that every single time I helped somebody, I was working for my tip. That there was no expectation of anything being left. And now, we live in a society where it's like it's expected that you tip. Well, the flip side of that is I have a friend who had an experience with a local business here. Her daughter had her kids and they were super sick. So she went online and she placed an order. Online it said, it'll be about 30 minutes, and it says, would you like to leave a tip online? And she said, no, I'll tip when I pick it up. So she was about 30 minutes waiting outside in her car, so she's not dragging her sick kids and her sick self in there. She goes to pick it up and it's not ready. They said it's going to be a little while. So she goes back out to her car, sits for another 20, 30 minutes, and goes back in and checks again. And they said, well, I don't know, we'll have to see if we can find it. So they finally go to the kitchen, finally find her order, and she's going to sign the slip. And no, she went online and she ended up paying and doing the full thing, and she left a $5 tip. Well, it was about $60. On the receipt, when she picked up her order, in crayon, it said something like, "You might think about how you tip next time." And I was like, what? What's going on here? First of all, I talked to another restaurant owner, and she said, first, to-go orders, you shouldn't even be tipping if you don't want to anyway. And then to have that message given from somebody in the kitchen, and then I'm going, wait, and I just ate that food. It's like, I don't want to do that. But, so just like you said, it's like, how does it leave you feeling? Right, every single customer experience situation is, how do they leave me feeling? So I have a quote here from one of my favorite people, Maya Angelou, and she says, "I have learned I have a lot to learn. I have learned that people will never forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you feel." I have this in my office because it's really important, I think, for us to go, even if we can't solve the problem, we can at least try and leave them knowing that we did our best to try to solve it for them. All right, so let's see, customers are no longer comparing themselves to even our competitors. They're comparing us to everything that's out there, because one click and they can do a lot of the things that they already are getting. But I don't know about you, but when I am dealing with booking something, and thank you for having your business, and thank you for yours, and thank you for yours, and thank you for showing up, because when we get to deal with a customer relations person or somebody who's actually picking up the phone and listening to what we have to say, it goes a really, really long ways. And I think so many times our customers just want to be heard. Even if we, like I said, even if we can't solve it, it's just taking the time to really listen and listen really good. Okay, I have a question for you guys, is why are you doing the job that you're doing? Why'd you pick it? Anybody?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm doing the job I'm doing. Well, I started out as a membership person, but it was, like I said, 19 years ago. I needed a real job. I was in the process of getting divorced, and my friend worked here, and she said, "Oh, you should come work at the chamber." And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And I got hired at membership, and it was a whole learning process of being in the workforce and doing all the things. And then I realized that I get to work with all different people all day long. My days are never the same. I can do all the things. I can help people and do good things for people and still get paid for it as well, of course. People have a job because they like to get a paycheck. But I just have the pleasure that I get to enjoy what I do. And I think that getting to work with such a random array of people and businesses is huge.
Is it difficult sometimes?
Oh, it's difficult. Definitely. We have 700 members and all the things, but you can't make everybody happy. But I'm a really good fixer, and I tell the girls that too. If there's something going on, let me know. We'll work it out. We can fix things. We can make it right. And so, difficult or not, I still love to come to work every day.
So, you guys, looking at Billy, would you believe that she enjoys her job? Do you think she really likes it or just kind of likes it? Has to go to work.
Really likes it.
Really likes it. How important is that?
Very important.
Very important. So if you look at yourself in the business that you're in, and I get that some of us aren't in businesses that we choose because we have to make a paycheck or whatever it is, but on a scale from 1 to 10, where's your enthusiasm about what you do in your job? Why don't you just kind of check in with yourself? Like, Billy, where are you at on your job and enthusiasm?
I think I'm probably an 8.5.
Yeah, like pretty up there,
I'm
right?
pretty up there.
Yeah, okay. Who else? In your job, scale from 1 to 10, 10 being like, I absolutely freaking love it and can't wait to jump out of bed every day to do it, versus 1 is, gosh, they don't even pay me enough. Like, I gotta be sick today. So and you guys don't even have to share those numbers, but I really want you to just
flip-flop between both of those.
yeah, it's like, okay, well, what day is it and what day of the month is it? It's like, what's going on around us, and how upset are our customers or happy are our customers, or, and so as we are looking at those things, what I really want you to just kind of ponder is, how can I make it just a little bit better for myself? Because if I'm in the job that I'm at, how can I have an attitude adjustment to just get a little bit happier about it? What are the good things in it? And I always go back to gratitude. Even when things get sticky or difficult, it's like, okay, what did I just learn from that? And I tell you what, from the years of, 7 or 8 years old to where I am now, it's like there's been a lot of freaking lessons. There's been a lot of failure. There's been a lot of disappointment. There's been a lot of, why am I even doing this? Like, I don't have to do this. Why do I do it? And then the next day, it's like, oh my gosh, I love my job. Like, I love what I do. I'm so grateful that I get to do it. So coming into a place, and why this is even important is because when we call the chamber up and say, hey, is Billy there? On the other end of the phone, is it, yeah? No. Or is it, it's like, no, it's like, what can I do? How can I help you? Oh, that sounds so fun. Let me figure out how I can line you two up together, or this possibility or that possibility. And so when we're showing up better because we're enjoying what we're doing, it comes across. I mean, this is one of my favorite things, is energy never lies. And I'm going to say that during COVID, a great example is two businesses that are selling exactly the same thing. Whether it's, and it doesn't, you guys, these rules apply to everything, whether it's hospitality, real estate, gifting, school, whatever, is two restaurants or two businesses are exactly the same. One of them is like, oh my gosh, this is awful. Like, I can't believe what they're wanting us to do, and how are we going to even survive? And every customer that comes in, they're like, oh, what are we going to do? Like, it's awful. And the other one's going, you know what? We're going to figure it out. Whatever it is, we're going to figure it out. Even if we have to serve burgers out the back door of a camper, whatever we need to do. Who are you joining? Who do you want to spend your time with? And so that's why when we get excellent customer service and we feel like we're important, or we feel like we're getting heard from somebody, people come back. I have restaurants that I go to, you guys. I'm like the most faithful person you've ever met. Like, sometimes I'm like, go on the other side of the block. There's other things out there. But the reason is because I love consistency. I love knowing that it's going to be the same. And when I get something that doesn't work out, or if, the service isn't what I'm expecting, guess what I do? I tell. There's been a time when I've thought, what, it's none of my business, I should just be quiet. But as a business owner, the best thing you can do is bring it to their attention that something is different than it should be, or what you expected. And that clarity of being able to know and be understood, and then not being able to say, oh, well, I'm going to go talk to Billy right now, and she is like going to get it. It's like, no, I'm going to go talk to Billy, and we're going to talk about it. And so we have a better understanding. Then when I go to Billy, it's like, and I always have, for me personally, it's like I always have my employees back, and I'm also mindful of the customer. And then when whatever happens, I always go back to them and say, just so you know, we talked about it, and thank you for letting us know, and we will address it. So I think in customer service too, you guys, if you say you're going to do something and you fall short, or if there's a problem or a break in the service somehow, the sooner you can get in front of the person and correct it, or at least acknowledge it, the better. Okay, so Simon Sinek, one of my favorite people to learn from, he shares an experience of an airline and traveling, right? And as Sue knows, it's like travel can be difficult sometimes. Well, he had finished his job at wherever he was traveling, and so he went to the customer service and he said, hey, I'd really like to change my flight to get home to my family faster. And the gal looks at him and says, I'm sorry, but your ticket is one that we can't change. It has to stay exactly the way it is. Well, of course, he turns around and he's like, are you kidding me? You've got tickets. Like, I know you have availability. Why can't you get me on the thing? And she's like, sorry, can't do it. Okay, goes to another agent the agent says, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I want to help you get home to your family. Let me see what I can do. Same ticket, same situation. She's on there checking things, and she's like, you know what? That's not going to work. Let me check again, checking things. Let me talk to my supervisor, checks with the supervisor, and comes back and says, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do. He's happy as a camper. She tried. She tried and she communicated it back to him. And that's the difference in customer service. Being able to just go, sorry, tough day for you, go, or I'm going to do everything I can. Even if she knew that there was nothing she could do, she at least tried and then came back to him. So being able to address those situations, hit them head on, that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned in my years of customer service is don't let the little things go. If you hear something, if you know something, if somebody says something, address it right away, and address it until they feel like they've at least been heard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with going straight to them and saying, look, I've done everything I could. I know how you feel. I've had a lot of training. Feel found, right? I know how you feel. I felt that way myself. And what I found is this is what I'm going to do instead, but there's a long ways with just connecting to them and hearing them. Okay, so in your business, do your customers feel seen and heard? And when we're talking business, I'm also going to open up the door to our staff, people who work for us. Because who are the best representatives of who we are? Our staff, right? And do they hear and understand, or do they feel like you're listening to them? If you always are constantly going, okay, we'll talk about it later, or write it down somewhere, or you know what, I don't even know what to do, we're just later, well then you have an issue, right? So when you're talking to your employees or I'm going to call it a gatekeeper. For me, I have a gatekeeper. She filters every single phone call, every single thing that comes through before I ever see it or hear of it. And if you're off, and as a customer, so I'm going to flip the hat for a second. As a customer, if I'm trying to get to the main person and I'm not giving the time and the effort and the respect to the person who's answering the phone, I'm never going to get to the person, right? So customer service is so many different sides of it. It's like, okay, well, now if I'm the customer, how am I going to act? Well, now how am I going to act if I'm the boss? Well, as an employer or an employee, how do I put that across? So you guys just really being open to, is there clarity in the conversations and how things are being run? Is the message getting out there clearly? Another good customer service thing is, do people know what you even offer? Right? Because if somebody's coming in for one service and they're going away unhappy because it wasn't fulfilled, maybe that's something that you don't offer. And then being able to refer them, and this is being a good customer service agent, is also referring and making sure that you're giving every bit of information to someone else that you can. So say somebody comes into the gym and they say, hey, we've heard about, I'm trying to think of what you guys wouldn't offer. Red light therapy. Maybe you haven't. But you know somebody who has red light therapy. It's like, you know what? I don't know, but let me find a place for you. Let me, here's where you can find them. Here's where they're located, and if you have a referral, always give referrals. One of the things I learned a long time ago in business is your competition is not necessarily your competition. It keeps you stronger. It keeps you at your A game. And so I often refer people to other businesses that offer something similar to what I do. And people are probably going, why are you even doing that? Like, what's going on here? And it's because I want you to have options. And I definitely want you to go to where you're going to feel heard, understood, get exactly what it is that you're looking for. So giving referrals, being a good neighbor, and I'm going to just bring into being a good neighbor is if you have neighboring businesses, or maybe coming to chamber events, especially before hours, after hours, lunch and learns, all the things. It's a great opportunity to network with people. Once you learn what these other people are doing, it's like refer them. How can I help refer them and get their name out there? And if you have a good experience, You guys, we're so good at just talking about bad experiences and problems, and that when are we often out there looking for how can I give a referral or a kudos to someone else? And I know for us, we as a store, we're super lucky because we've had a few different names, we've had a lot of different looks, we've had a lot of different all things, and we continue to have people who will promote us and share us. And you know, people will come in and say, hey, I ate over at what did we call it? They said to come in and stop here, or they've been, you know, at the museum or the chamber, or they said you've got to come and stop. You know, same as what I love to refer to, and I should stop, is telling people to go to the canyon. I want to keep it for myself. But it's such a beautiful place, so I always refer it to people. You know, it's like if you're traveling through, if you've got an extra little bit of time, just go up there and experience how amazing it is. And so, okay. So when we talk about always going to the same places because of the way they make you feel or the service that you received, why? Like, who wants to share why, or an experience of why they keep going back?
Your smile.
Smile.
You go to a restaurant and the waitress is nice to you. When I was a young man, I'd go to Denny's or something and they'd always call me sweetheart or young man. And it felt like my mother or something.
Yeah. Felt at home.
I would go back to that same place all the time because it made me feel good.
Yeah. So, anybody else have any experiences of how somebody has made you feel and why you've gone back? Or an example they want to share?
Well, I worked for the Chart House in Lake Tahoe, and we did consistency, and the corporation made sure that you went to any Chart House anywhere, you ordered the same meal. It was the same in any Chart House. They were very particular about that, and they trained us each day. We'd have a meeting, and they told us everything that was in the menu, everything that was in the particular dish, all the allergies, and we all got to taste it. So I didn't have to run and say, let me ask the chef. No, I told you everything. I could tell you if it had peanuts in it, I could tell you what it tastes like, I could tell you what they put in it, how they make it, and the whole 9 yards. And my average tip was 25%. So the more you know, the more you can tell your customers, the more they appreciate it. It's all about professionalism. Whatever job you're doing, if you know how to do it, you know how to tell these other people how to do it. You know, which machine to use, I've been there to travel. You know, my hotel does this just like all other hotels. If you know what you're talking about, they will respect you and trust you.
Yeah. And that loyalty, right? You're building that loyalty of, if I'm going to spend my money, or if I'm going to book through something, or if I'm going to ask, you know, need to stay somewhere, where am I not only going to stay, but where am I going to refer all my family and friends to stay? Which is a really big deal. You know, when I fly out of Salt Lake, there's a hotel that I stay at all the time. And it's not like I travel all the time, but I go a little bit. Every time I walk in, she's like, oh my gosh, Hayley, how are you? And I'm like, how do you even know who I am? Because she's got to see hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands of people actually. And so one of the things that we also try to teach is recognizing people, whether it's their first name or some kind of interaction that you had with them, you know? So I can really refer back to a gift store because that's what I do. But it's like people walk in and I know, so we train. I know the first thing that happens when somebody walks in and we walk up to them and they're going to say, I'm just looking. And it's almost like, you know, I'm just looking, don't bother me. And as soon as we say, it's okay, you know, it's like, well, welcome. We just wanted to say hi. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let us know. We've got some really great new things. We turn around and they're like, wait, can you show us what that stuff is? But as soon as we take that wall down and start a just general conversation. But if Sue walked in and said, oh my gosh, Sue, how are you doing? What's happening? Tell me about your family. You know, you just got back from Kona? I've been to Kona. Tell me what you loved most. There's instantly a connection. And we have, like, she's going to be going, oh yeah, okay, now here I came in for a candle for my sister or whatever. and we're able to, really start conversation. So, there's Ford, which is family, occupation, and whatever. As far as what are the conversations that we can have with people? Gosh, it's so good to see you here again. There's a lot of people who know me, and I don't know them. I recognize them, I don't know them. But if I just walk up and go, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you again. And I'm like looking her in the eyes, and I'm like, I'm so happy to see you. How are you? What's been going on? She doesn't know that I don't remember her name. And really, she may not even know my name, right? But it's the way that I make her feel. And so when we're greeting our guests, when we're taking a phone call, I don't think we have to go into a long dialogue on the phone, but it's like, hey, how are you doing today? What's the weather like where you are? Okay, no, how can I help you? And just breaking that ice and getting in there. How do we take care of our customers? Offering customer service outside of the just general, you've been here for a while, you're a repeat customer. So what are some ideas you guys have? So let's talk gym for a second. Do you guys have things in place where you do customer appreciation? Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Every month, member of the month, whoever checked in the most, we acknowledge them coming in 43 times a month. That means they were in there more than once a day, and then getting to know them, getting to know why they're there, learning their stories. Everybody has a story. They're trying to lose weight, they're doing this. They have a disease that they need, whatever it is. And they show up every day. And it's like amazing to see that, And so we acknowledge them and appreciate them for going every day and reward them with something.
So do you track your retention? Mm-hmm. And so how do you feel like that has benefited you guys?
A lot.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge, to be acknowledged for even the smallest little thing. And it really does go a long ways. So what is your number one customer service tip for your business?
I think is learning their names and, acknowledging them, seeing them come in and just connecting with them. I don't know, there's so many, but it's hard to choose just one, but we really do try to learn their names, and, we see them every day, and just saying like, it's so good to see you again, like I'm glad to see you here. Sometimes it's really hard for somebody to go in and work out, it's all in your mind, and just like, you had surgery, you're still here, like I see you here, and I know you just had surgery.
And how hard it can be for some, just to show up.
Yes.
So just acknowledging it's like, it's so good to see you, right?
Yeah.
It's such a huge thing. So that's awesome. Okay, who else has, so what for you guys? So what is your best customer service tip?
So that's interesting because we're in, I think, a slightly different marketing demographic in the sense that we're not dealing with, people only come to us because they're being forced to come to us, right? Usually by municipal code.
Hey, I'm sorry you're here. I don't want the story, but just,
But we're expanding services to the point where we are going to have to be interfacing with the general public more, but even still not in the sense where we're likely to have repeat customers for like water quality testing, right? You're going to get that done once. If you follow the EPA guidance, you'll do it once a year, but you're not going to do it once a year. You're going to get it done once. And then otherwise we're primarily dealing with general contractors who have to retain testing for a project. And there's about 3 people they can choose from in town. So to keep our customers happy, I think, in my opinion, and I'm probably the wrong person to be asking this, while I'm here, is knowledge and professionalism, right? If they call with a question, whoever picks up the phone should have an answer to that question. If it's something super technical, maybe not, but if it's anything about the services we offer, if anything about how we do our, do whatever it is that we're doing, they should have an answer to that. And that's, you can ask Amy, I took the business over about 1.5 years ago, and there have been a lot of changes in that time, but that's something I've tried to stress, is that professional presentation of everything we do.
So this is actually really great. I love this because my question for you then is, how do you stand out in the market? So if there's 3 competitors out there, what are some of the services or things that you can provide that would help you stand out in the crowd? And that professionalism is one. You know, it's like when we answer the phone, and you guys, I'm not against scripting, so that when people call, you have a certain way that you answer. If they ask this is what I say. And if I don't have the answer, the best thing that I want to hear is, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And what's the best time, or what's the best way for me to get a hold of you? And then do it. Because a lot of times we get busy and we don't want to be, and so we always hear about salesy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to bother them, whatever. No, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And then I would love at the end, it's like, if you enjoyed your experience, we would love a referral. And being able to ask for the referral with confidence of, you know what, or how could, here's one of the most difficult but best questions. What feedback do you have? So with your experience, what feedback do you have? So I've asked this question before, and it's like, oh my gosh, why did I ask? Because it was like, they told it to me, you know? And then I had to sit back, just like the 0 tip is, okay, wait, the 0 tip gave her a really good feedback. And instead of getting angry or bitter, she ended up getting better. And so for you guys, it's like, okay, how can we stand out? What services or what kind of phone skills? You know, and the phone, you guys have such a big deal. The first impression of a business is the phone. And okay, I'm like just gonna throw it out there. We get spammed so many times that on my answering machine at the store now it says, we're not answering the phone. Due to spam calls, leave a message and we'll call you back. And we're usually sitting right there going, who's calling? Because there's so many bad calls. So when we do have a good experience, it's like, gosh, thank you for answering your phone. Thank you for getting back with me, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, and getting back is key though, because I don't know how many times I've heard a message like that and left a message.
Nothing happens.
Nothing.
And so how did that make you feel?
Well, it's frustrating. It's like, I'm trying to give you business. I'm trying to solve a problem that I have. Like, I need this item and you should have it in stock or whatever. And
I'm not worthy of even you returning my call?
Yeah.
Even if you can't find it or you can't solve the problem, call them back and communicate with them. And so here's something that I do, because I deal with a lot of different people from a lot of different places, is when I have a situation when there's a question or I'm trying to help them find something, I'll write it in my planner. I'll put a little note in my phone right then, and I'll schedule, return call. And I'll put the person's name and what it was about. Because if I don't get reminded of that, I will forget it. We'll go through the cracks, and I don't want that to happen. So you guys think about, what are the things I have in place to be a really good person at following up. And I don't think it has to be a big deal, write it on a piece of paper. I mean, I have people who work with me know that I don't look at your message, I don't open it up at all until I can properly return it correctly. So I don't do it at a stoplight, and if it's like 2 days later and I'm just now replying, it's because I just opened it. Because if I open it, it's like a busy business. It goes through and it's like gone. And it's not that I didn't care about the person, it's that there's been 15 more people and I've forgotten. And so as a customer, that makes you feel like, gosh, they don't even care about my whatever. And I'm really in need and I want to give you business. So take that as, how can we up our game around doing that too, right? Okay, thank you. Anything else you want to add for customer appreciation or how you can stand out?
So customer appreciation is something that frankly we don't do, and it's on my list of things we need to improve on. In my particular business, standing out from the crowd, and I think this is true for most technical businesses anymore, is the technical skill set is going to be the same no matter where you go. They will perform the same job to the same level of technical ability. And so the difference is really the soft skills. How is project communication? You get a report at the end of it. Is it easy to read? Things like that.
Can you explain it to me if I call and ask you?
Yeah.
I have one gal that I work with, and she's like, every time I get off of a call with somebody, I'm angry. Like, I'm mad. And I'm like, why are you mad? Well, because you keep asking me the same question over and over. And why can't they go and figure it out? And I'm like, okay, number one, you're tired. And so if you're going to take away from my time, then, I can do it for you, but why should I? I'm tired. But it's like, you're also getting business. Like, you have people who want your service. So if you have to ask me 15 times how to do it or why it happened that way or what the report said, okay. And I'm doing it with a smile. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful. And so, and it's like, you guys, I mean, you still deal with contractors and you still deal with people, and as the services grow, what would you like to see come from us? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. What would you like to add?
Well, I think the last thing I'll say is just a little anecdote. A couple weeks ago, I got some feedback from a client who's used us for testing for decades on different projects, and she called and said, hey, I really want to keep using you, I like working with you guys, but we have some serious issues on this project. Communication isn't what it should be. I didn't know this, I didn't know this, I didn't know this. And she was absolutely right. Like, yeah, okay, got it. Like, I can fix that, I can work with that. And so I appreciate the fact that she was upfront, she was blunt about that, and said, hey, listen, there's a problem here. Once we know that, we can fix that.
And exactly that.
Yeah,
Then
so that feedback's great.
Good feedback. Okay, how can we address it? Even if you lost her as a customer, it might prevent you from losing another one.
Definitely. And if she has that experience or that perception of us, the chances are somebody else does too, and just hasn't said anything.
So yes, sometimes it's sticky, right? Sometimes it's sticky stuff, but it's like, okay, I'm grateful and thank you for telling me. Yes, good stuff. Pivot and switch, right? How can we do it better? What do we need to know in this situation that we can improve on or just even make it better? So, okay, so mistakes happen, right? What do we do when a mistake happens? So hotel, right? Mm-hmm. Ever have any problems? Anything go sideways?
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. Most of the time it's not even us that makes the mistake, but it's just understanding the guests and understanding the frustration and flipping it. Instead of being on one side of the counter, understand what it's like to be on the other side. And then work as quickly as you can to get a solution and give them options. Because sometimes they don't necessarily want what we can offer, but find them a plan B. Give them that avenue.
Vouchers and extra pillows or, coffee at a coffee shop, a gift card. There are so many things that we can do that just solve it that fast. It's like, I'm really, really sorry. And, in a lot of cases, checking into late hotels, or I booked wrong one time, right? And I'm Times Square with my suitcase going down the sidewalk, but they found me a hotel down the road. So I was super grateful, but it's, they could have just said sorry. And instead they they did help me solve the thing, and it could have put me into a tailspin traveling, and things. And so, and I continued to go back to that hotel and send my friends and family every single time because of the way that they handled it. Even though it was my mistake, and I was cranky about it at first, right? Right? Okay. What other customer appreciation type things do you guys do hotel?
So we're actually, we're focusing on that a little bit more.
We are thinking of doing different things, like giving them little gifts, like a welcome gift, like when they check in, here's a bag of popcorn, enjoy, stuff like that. I don't know.
I stayed in Salt Lake for a seminar at the beginning of May. The hotel we stayed at had warm cookies.
Oh, nice.
They even had on the side of the bed, here's your home for your warm cookie. And by golly, when I checked in, she gave me that warm cookie, and I can't.
Where's my cookie?
There's something about food that just uses everything.
Well, a warm cookie, I mean, holy cow. On my way to the room after the seminar, I'm like, cookie. By the end of the seminar, they were just pulling the cookie out when they walked by.
And so that experience, right, is like, and back to home. Because we already know he likes to be at home, restaurants and hotels and all the things. And what brings that comfort with me when I travel and when I go? I love, I stay at a place and they give me a bottle of water. And as simple as that sounds, bottle of water in the little thing over there is like $4.
Yes.
And so, and it's not costing them $4 to give me a bottle of water, but it's like, here's a bottle of water and a smile, and it really does, it makes a difference. And in some cases, like I'm booking more expensive hotel rooms because of the way they make me feel. And the experience that I can always depend on, right? Always depend on it. There are some places that have really, really good food. And even if the service is awful, you go back for the good food, but it's not as often, right? It's just not as often. Okay, let's see. I think one thing that we need to remember also is no one owes us anything. There is a lot of businesses out there that offer exactly the same thing as we do, and in some cases even better. But people don't know us their business, they don't know us a tip, they don't know us a referral, they don't know us a good review. So we should always be working for those things. Just like the little waitress I was, it's little tiny, it's like, okay, here I am, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make your experience better because I know I'm working for a tip. So as you're doing your day in, day out job, back to where am I on my scale of why am I doing what I'm doing? If it's like a 5 or a 6, how can I get it to be a 7? How can I be a little bit more, and I'm going to say appreciative of what I get to do? You know, if you really hate your job, then go find another one. Like seriously, like because your misery is spreading to everyone that you're around, and it's not you that's just miserable; it's everyone that is. And I understand that that's not always something we can do. But start looking for something that can make you happier, right? Because it's going to really come across.
I'm not leaving. I'm not
don't
leaving.
look for another job.
Again. I'm not leaving again.
Well, there had to have been something that brought you back,
Billy.
right? Yes. And kudos to Billy because I feel like the reason that the chamber is so vibrant and so strong and people are, the increase of people who are joining and coming to the events and excited starts with one person's little flame. And even though she has a huge network of people who are helping her, why do they want to help her? Because they know what her mission is. They know what it is all about. Is showing up in service for our entire community, not just to make Billy happy or just to make Billy's life easier.
That's why I do it.
Well, maybe there's one. But for the most part, people want to be around her and work with her because of her vibrancy, her energy. So we get to check in, how are we showing up on the phone? And I was taught long ago, every time you answer the phone, you should be smiling. Because it comes across in your conversation and the way you answer. So, okay, let's see. There are businesses out there that 100% of the time the customer is always right, no matter what. And people are willing to spend more and shop and do that, or go to them and have business because they know that they can do anything and they'll still be backed up. Nordstrom. There's stories out there online where Nordstrom is a clothing store, high-end clothing store, candles and all those things. No matter what, if you try to return something, I'm gonna rat my sister out. She bought a brand new shirt, took it home, did whatever, went to do something, shut the trunk, got caught in the trunk, ripped a little hole in it. She takes it back to Nordstrom and they give her her money back. Now, in my opinion, that's a bad customer. But in their defense, they said, no problem, let me give you your credit back. No receipt, no nothing. Somebody once bought some tires and said they were unhappy with them and they went to return them to Nordstrom, who doesn't sell tires. This is what they're most famous for. They took the tires back. Whatever it is that the customer needs, or, it's like the customer is always right. However, just like I said, rather my sister, it's like, there's some naughty customers, and I think that because we're in a society where competition is so tough, like, I'll have people in my store looking at going, okay, I'm scanning this all over the internet to see where I can find it cheaper. It's like, okay, but why do people keep coming in? Even after, so we have a company that we've represented for about 7 years. This last year, I found the same product that I sell at the price I buy it for in stores in town. And so as a customer, their customer service to me is, well, they don't care at all about the little guy, even though we helped them get into the market. But the first thing I did was, that's it, we're done. Like, we're done. I had customers still coming in when we were closing it out and saying we're no longer carrying it. And I told them the same story. I'm like, I don't want my customers to come in and think that, boy, she's really hiking the price when they can see it for less than what I'm paying for it. And they were still buying it off my shelf because of their loyalty and that they wanted to see me still with business, right? So there is a lot that goes behind customer service, customer loyalty, creating that, you know, we're always here. No matter what it is, I'm gonna be here. And we appreciate it. So the last thing before we just open it up to like talk is going to be showing up in your community and really being the difference. In customer service to me is when I see other businesses showing up for nonprofits, for fundraisers, walking the walks, doing the things, I 100% want to support them. There's a gal who sits on the chamber with me, and our last meeting, she comes over and she sits by me and she puts her head on my shoulder and she goes, I just feel better sitting by you. Because of course I'm a diffuser, right? I have oils all over me. And then, you know, we haven't really done much together. I mean, I know her this much. And I get back to work and she sent me flowers. And the flowers are just, thanks for being who you are. That's all it said. Thanks for being who you are. Well, she's in real estate. And I, you know, when we bought our last house, I have a realtor that was, you know, a customer of mine who no longer talks to me because I didn't buy it from her. She wasn't the agent. She had nothing to do with it. And she still won't talk to me. This little gal who put her head on my shoulder and said, you smell good. I'm like, you know what? If I need a realtor, she's probably who I'll call. Why? Because for no reason she said something kind, right? And there's a lot of them. Like I have a lot of them that I do business with, and you know, that's always a thing. But how does she stand out in the crowd? And she has no idea the impact that that little gesture had on me, right? And then I'll continue to tell it, right? And share it. So I think that the way that we get to show up in our community, the way that we get to give back freely, the way that we get to refer other people, especially our competitors, if we know it's going to help our customers somehow, then let's do it. And then I think really it's how do we get to stand out in our customer service? Do we call back right away, right? Do we take our time and not? Do we just go, oh, you know what, policy is policy? Have another friend, I have a lot of friends, I'm so grateful. But I have a friend who went and she got a gift card for a place here in town, and she went in and she's trying to buy something. She bought something for someone else, and she said, I don't know if this will fit her. She's in town this weekend. If it doesn't, can I bring it back? And so she used a gift card, bought something, gave it to somebody. They went and tried it on. It didn't fit. She went back the same day within about an hour to return it, and they're like, I'm sorry, we can't take it back. Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. It's like, what? Give me back my credit or my gift card, at least, right? Or something. It's like something so simple, and yet so, oh gosh, that left a nasty taste in my mouth. You know? Actions, you guys. So I've never met a stranger, right? As being able to go up and talk to people about anything. Anything. Family, friends, activities, travel, you know, what is it? Have a connection. Being able to do kind things for people, whether they'll remind you or remember you. I have these little cards that I carry in my bag, and I have them in my bag. So today I'm going, you know what, I'm just going to grab them out and get them. Anytime I walk down the street and I'll give them to people. I leave them with a tip at a table. I put them in cards or letters or envelopes, or anytime I have the opportunity to just share a little something, I always do. And you guys, it's like so inexpensive, and yet it really can help people just feel a little different. Katie, if I give you these three, will you?
So I will say I have several of these.
Yes.
On my bulletin board in my office that I pin up there with thank you notes, and so I appreciate them. So it's like I put them up there so I can see them every day.
And I just believe that the message that is in there is the one you need. Like, it's just the one you need. Just little tiny things go a really long ways. Okay, you guys, let's open up to customer service questions. What are your thoughts about all the things we've been talking about today? I don't know where we are on time.
It's 1 o'clock.
Okay, so we have time. So what questions or what things do you want to share?
I have a question. So being that sometimes we hire a lot of high school kids, you know. It's a stepping stone, it's what it is. Sometimes it's really hard to get them to care as much as we do, you know, because how do you train them to want to care? Because sometimes they don't. And as much as you try, you have your good ones that, you know, they're all good. Not that they're not good, but some of them care more than others.
I definitely have something, but who else has anything to, any tips for her?
Explain why.
Yeah, final one.
Yeah, if you explain to why should I be nice to that asshole? You know, because you keep being nice and one day he'll break and then you're winning. So if you can turn them around, because after all of us are actually selling only one thing, happiness. If you can make your customer happy, they will return. And each employee, what they need is information. The more information you give them, give them handouts, give them whatever, because not everybody remembers what you tell them. But if you give them a spot, and if you have a computer, so just look it up right here. And you have the questions to ask and the answers. So if they have the information, they have the smile, they will win out of it as customer service.
Good, good. Just like when you go to work at a restaurant, you have to learn the menu. You need to learn everything about it. Is here at this gym, what our goal is, our number one thing is to leave people feeling important and appreciated. And so I picked you, or you were chosen to be here because I see that you would be excellent at doing this. Sometimes I pour into people what they're lacking. Gosh, you do such a great job on the phone. And they're like, really? No, I love listening to you because you take your time and you listen and you pay attention, you know, and so not only do we want them to, here's why we do it, and that is so important, you guys, is giving them a clear path of here's what we expect, and here's why I believe you're going to be really good at it. And the more you pour that into them, is they're gonna want to shine. And if not, then sometimes they just don't work out. And I know here's where we are in the industry. I would have a help wanted sign and we get 30-40 applications, no problem. And I would have a hard time picking someone. Now we put a help wanted and we might get 3 that are not qualified. Not even kind of. You know, it's like, can you answer the phone? You know, and it's like, and so then you're also looking at the caliber of people, but I swear, if they're willing to learn and you're willing to really guide them and take the time, and I think it's just encouragement, continued encouragement. Gosh, I love the way that you answered that phone. I love the way that you greeted that person. I love the way that you were attentive in getting those tells. You know, and just really pour into them. It will continue to pay off over and over. Who else has feedback for that?
So try to inspire a sense of ownership in it, right? It's not just, a part-time job, I'm punching the clock. It's like, hey, I'm actually a stakeholder in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they need to be needed, right? We all need to be needed. Where's your part in this? Really good, really good. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
More? Need
Yes.
more? You have more questions? More? Okay, who else? Sue, what's your number one customer service, either tip or question?
My tip is, my business is different. I'm a home-based business, so I work from my home. So I don't have a storefront. For me, I think it's really important. I try to meet with every customer. A lot of people want the instant gratification of messaging, texting, but if I can get in front of them, and I like Billy, I have that passion, that fire about talking about travel, they're in. Because I can talk about anything, whatever destination, and they can feel it. And being in front of somebody and talking to somebody and having them feel that and getting them to understand the joy or the love of wherever it is they're going or whatever kind of trip they're taking, like it's just magical. And it's just so fun to be with people and share that with them. So that's, like I said, it's different for me because I don't have that in and out traffic. I do get phone calls, phone's easy. But yeah, just being in front of somebody and just sharing that love and that joy of what you do. Yeah.
And being attentive,
And being attentive.
because that's really when you need
And
to
I
return
have
those
like,
calls.
sometimes I think, I have to ask a lot of questions. Travel is very detail oriented. I have to know who, I have to know when, I have to know where. Are you driving, are you, what are you doing? Like,
What experience do
what
you want?
experience do you want? Because everybody's experience is different. How you travel is probably different than how you travel, how I travel. So sometimes I feel like I'm like, questions, and then I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but it's so important that I have every little detail so I can just make this trip the right trip for you.
Do you have a Google form?
I do not have a Google form.
I would recommend creating a Google form that you could have the conversation with them, but then say, I'm going to send you this form. I want you to fill it out so I can best serve you with what you want. And have some of those questions like, what's the experience you want to do? Do you want, travel,
Right.
whatever it is. And I'm going to just correct one thing that you said is you don't have a storefront, but you do, because social media is like an open window to everything that you
Right.
do. And so your storefront is really important, and I love when you go on and you do live videos, especially when you're on your trips, because I'm like, well, I want to go there. And it's like when you were in Kona, I'm going, I've been there. Did you go here? Did you go there?
We were out in front of my hotel room, so in Kona.
The manta rays?
They swim at night with the manta rays,
Yep.
right? So the resort that we were at, the boats were like right in front, and they shine the lights into the water, and you see these giant manta rays, and these crazy people holding onto the string in the dark, floating in the water, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, and I know it was like, because there's time change, so there's 3 hours difference, and I was like, I don't care, it's 1 o'clock in the morning at home, everybody has to see this, because where else are you gonna see this?
So one of the really cool things that I would recommend, I don't know, you might already do this, is but do little shorts while you're there traveling, and then just save them. 2 minutes or less, you can post them up as if you're there right now.
Right.
But more of that, because because in a piece of paper you can't always get the excitement.
Right.
And even on a phone call sometimes. But it's like when we see you in action, and maybe even ask some of your customers who've had really great experiences, do live testimonials. So that open window front that you always have is just really being able to share that excitement, because Sue does a great job. I mean, she booked a great trip for me, and it's awesome. I just need to travel somewhere right now.
Right.
So, okay, any other tips or things?
Do you still give them like the travel bag thing?
It's gotten so busy. So I give them, I don't do like a beach bag anymore, because there was a time when I first started, I did the beach bag and then they took a picture.
They would take
Now I
pictures of
just
their
do like
beach
a
bag
small,
on
like
there.
kind of a wet bag, bikini bag with my logo or whatever on it. I do ask for referrals. I do ask for, get the feedback when they come back, what worked, what didn't. Sometimes it's kind of crazy off the wall stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know how to fix that. Like, because sometimes you just can't. Like, they're just venting or whatever.
But I did enjoy seeing
That
the
was
people
really
on
fun.
their trips.
And they would pose like with the bag. I would have them, I'd
see
give
their
them a beach bag and then
locations
they'd go wherever. And then at the end of the year, I took everybody's picture who sent me a picture of the beach bag, and then I had a contest on Facebook.
Nice.
Voted, whoever got the most votes, they got like $100 off their next vacation or whatever it was at that point. Yeah, but then now it's just too much. Like, I would spend my entire year's budget on buying beach bags right now.
Pay your bills, but you can buy
It's
beach bags.
busy, right? So, yeah, but there's fun stuff. A lot of times they'll still take pictures. I get a lot of pictures. I ask for permission if I can post them. Sometimes they let me, sometimes they don't, and I totally understand. I'll go on, if clients are traveling and they let me, I'll name them and say, hey, so-and-so's getting ready to leave on whatever trip. Or sometimes I'll just say something simple like, I just booked 3 Alaska cruises. Like, who wants to go on their next Alaska cruise? Whatever it is. So
I think you do a great job of getting your name out there. I think people need to
yesterday was crazy. Like, I just reposted again. It was an old post from a couple of years ago. I added my new, because I just got new headshots. So I added the new picture, same wording. And I think I have 75 shares from my business page. People just took that and posted it. Random people all over that I've met from, New York or back east, wherever I've met them. Why it's a Navy graduation. 3 families. They don't even live here.
Yes.
They live in Ohio and Texas and Kentucky. But now my name is like everywhere, and now I'm getting messages from, which I can do my job anywhere, which is nice. But that was crazy. I've never seen a post like what happened yesterday take off like yesterday's day.
I love that.
I do too. So a couple of things. How does she stand out in the crowd? Well, she shares people's experiences, and people are excited to share because she's excited to share. And she wants, her energy is always happy and, talking to people in person, and she wants to make the experience right, even when things go sideways. And that's also something we get to share is, hey, this went super sideways, but I was there the whole time, like helping them the best way I could. So good stuff. Okay, who else has customer service questions or tips?
I used to work in the store downtown, not far from you. And my question when people come in, because it's all volunteer basically. The artists are in there and they'll sit there behind the counter, and someone come in and say, if you need anything, just tell me. Well, I don't do that. I get off my ass. I walk out. I go, are you local or are you traveling? And then I can go from there. If they're traveling, well, I tell them about the stores and the restaurants and all that. And basically, I'm not really telling about this, except trying to sell something. I'm basically selling Elka. I'm telling them, give me advice, whatever, and then I tell them what the store's about because it's all volunteer, it's all local. So anything you spend in the store is spent for local artists to support art. And then I go on about, there's a brewery right next door, there's the Star down over there. So if someone's traveling through and they say, well, if you ever go through Elk,
Stop there.
stop there, they'll tell you what you need.
So I think just sharing your experience of what it is that you do, different than everyone else, is, I don't know if you guys ever get together, like as a group, as a committee, as a board or whatever.
Well, no one's paid, so you can't really.
Well, I know, it's all
But if they're
involuntory.
there, I always give them tips.
Yeah.
Because I've been a bartender, a waiter, I've worked at hotels. I'm basically a customer expert. I know how to do all that. I always ask people where they're from, and if they share a story, I share a story. And before they go, they're happy, whatever. And I can tell how many people were doing the looky-loo thing. By the end of the conversation, they're buying something before they go.
There's some emotion attached to it. And they want to do good. I mean, just like what we started with is, when we know better, we can do better. And we do want to do better. We want to make sure that the little guy is getting supported and that the local artists are starving. I mean, we all know that saying, right? And so I would really challenge you to see if there was a way where you could get some of them together, maybe just have a coffee or something and say, hey, let's do better here in our customer service, or, here's just a few things that we could, what's our goal? What's the goal of the art club? Is it to just sell art if people randomly show up? Is it a place to gather artists? I mean, we're all volunteers, but we all can, leave people wanting more, so good stuff.
And I will vouch for that, because I have been into the art club dropping off things, and it was the person behind the desk, and he handed it to me, and I think you have my steak. First time I went in, it was Brian. He gave me a tour. He talked about all the different artists. I got all the information, and it wasn't. He has his own section where he's selling his stuff, but he wasn't trying to sell me anything. He was like, this is this artist. He had stories about this artist. He had information on this one, and they were gonna have the knife guy in. He was coming that week, so it was like.
And now
I
you
learned
know
more
what to
about
say.
I learned more
Right.
about the art club from him in that 10 minutes than I ever knew about the art club, and I was so impressed with what was in that store. So if you haven't been into the Elko County Art Club, you need to go in there because it's impressive.
That's why these wine walks are so good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple hundred people come in, and that's why all the other people really like me there. Because I go through the whole story, I tell them all about it, I do this and do that. And once I started doing stuff, their sales went up on those particular days. Because they know what they're buying. Most people come in, they're not there just to look and leave. They actually want to buy something. You just have to convince them there's something there that's going to make them happy. Because art in its own basic is selling happiness.
Well, I think first off, you make them happy when you go in there. So then it's a whole different vibe of, like, you feel like you're welcome and you should be in there and you should be looking and.
We're gonna go back to the energy thing, right?
Yeah.
Is you don't have to say, oh, I really like being here. you can tell when the person who's there, because they have to be there, is there. And it's like, okay, no one's coming in on those days, you know? And yet they're going, when do you work? On Wednesday's perfect. I'll be back on Wednesday and I'll bring my friends or family or whatever. And so you do an excellent job. Just share it. Share that and ideas, you know, what if we could do it a little bit better? Like just a little bit better. Any business, anything that we're doing. So, okay, hotel.
Mr. Clyde over here.
I don't really have anything to say, I guess, or have questions, I guess.
Yeah, because we kind of sit in a different area. We are a hotel, but we're extended stay. So we kind of have to remember that we are home to a lot of people and make sure we make that connection. But my question is, we have an age gap. How do you adapt to both the older clientele and these young guys? Because you have to kind of change how you approach them, the conversation, the ways they can contact you. But how do you kind of play the game between the two?
I think just going back to what you said earlier is being able to identify them as the customer, as you and their if you had a son or a daughter, how would you want them to feel when you checked in? What are the important things that you'd want to tell them? Because an older couple that comes and stays for a while, you're probably not going to be going, oh, the bar, this is my favorite, you're going to go check this out. But for the younger one, it might be. And I think just getting curious at the very beginning of, tell me what you're doing in town. What are your favorite things to do? What are your interests? Because if you can guide them to that, because if you have somebody who's into hiking, I mean, okay, here's where you're going to go. The chamber has a map. We have different maps. If it's somebody who's into, a foodie, somebody who really loves to eat, and maybe they want to cook their own, it's like, well, here's my favorite place to shop to get, or there's a farmer's market every Saturday, or something like that. But really finding out, and maybe even having that list of, if I were, what would I want? What would make me feel at home? If I were, what would I want? What would make me feel at home? And that'd be great to just be able to have available for the people at the front, And then here's a couple of just like 3 questions. Every customer, we're asking these 3 questions. Every time you see them and they walk through the door saying, welcome home or welcome back, or so, I hope you had a great day. What would the greeting be if life was perfect and your husband was coming home? Or whatever, it's like, hey kids, I'm so glad to see you.
Right.
And just even like, and it doesn't have to be cookies, it can be a smile.
Smile is your best tool.
Yeah. And
you look at someone and you smile, you right away feel at home.
How was your day? How was your day? And then listen.
Yeah.
How was your day? And it can only be like 1 or 2 minutes, and the person's going to go, gosh, nobody's asked me how my day was for how long, or something. So does that help, or do you have more questions? Or who else has tips for her for that?
Oh, nobody wants to tackle that one.
I have like a soft script that I use because we see so many different people, so many different businesses, and then when we're helping visitors too that come into the visitor center, so I don't have like a one-size-fits-all script that I use, right? Because everyone's different. All of our chamber memberships are different, and I try to make it as personal as possible to that business, to that person when they come in or when I meet with them. So like we had the membership luncheon in April, and one of our board members was standing next to me as we were serving food, and they were like, you're addressing everyone by name. And I said, yeah, because I want them to feel seen, I want them to feel heard. Everything that I do is based off of a soft script on this is what I'm going to ask, this is how we're going to proceed, this is what I'm going to talk about. But my actual interaction with you is going to be different. It's going to be personal to you. It's not going to be the same conversation I have with Hayley or Hank or Sue, anyone else in the room. It'll be personal. So I think people just want to make people like people that they know. They want to feel like you're friends. They want to feel like you're heard, that they're seen, that they have that connection, that emotion, that energy from you. One of the best things that Billy ever told me was that when you believe in what you're selling or you believe in what you're doing, you're going to have a better response. So
It's good advice, but don't tell her.
When I think too, to be genuine, it's like, how was your day? Oh, okay, and you're over here, you know, typing or whatever. It's like, you're not really present. And I think one of the best gifts is being present, is being able to just, and you guys, we're talking like 30 seconds, a minute. And then the conversations can go longer. And I would imagine if I go into the art club, the conversation will be a little bit longer. Because it's like, you're going, hey, what are you doing? What have you been? What's your favorite thing in here? Who are you shopping for? What, you know, tell me a little bit. And then you're listening, and it's fun and it's inviting. And for some, it's, you can tell. So here's probably one of the last things that I probably should say, is learn social cues. There are people, just like I said, people will walk in the door and the first thing they say is, oh, I'm not, they don't even have to go like this, but that's what we feel. Is I'm just looking, and I'm like, okay, well, if you need anything, I'll be back here, you know, and because you also want them to feel like I'm here, I'm listening, I'm not just leaving you here by yourself trying to figure it out. And so those social cues are something that's important. It's like, you can talk too long, you can tell too much, you can answer way more questions than what they asked. I'm so guilty of all of that, right? I'm long-winded. So anyway, you'd never know that, you know, years ago I was scared to talk in public. When I opened my store, you guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to talk to everybody. What am I gonna do? I was like, everyone, I don't have to be back here hiding, I don't want to say anything. And I had to get out of that comfort zone and be able to, you know, come up and greet people, and that with a smile, you know. Hey, how you doing today? If you need anything, let me know. That's usually what I say. I used to say, hey guys, but I found I shouldn't say that anymore, but I still do sometimes. But it's like, you know, how's it going? Here if you need anything. So, all right, you guys, anything else that anybody has any questions around? Anybody learn anything today? Are you taking away anything? Just one thing. That's it. Just one little thing of how do I stand out in the crowd? How do our customers leave? Or how do they feel when they leave? You know, is there clarity on what we offer here as services? You know. Okay, Billy, anything else?
No, I think this was great. I have a whole page of stuff. I was writing all the notes. I love it.
Okay, you guys.
Yeah, but I do want to I can draw and give away this chamber check. I do have posters here if anybody wants to take something in with their business for the events. We always appreciate that. So.
And I have some sample bracelets if anybody wants to have some.
All right, Sue.
Oh,
There you go.
There you go.
You guys, thanks for taking the time to be here. Every once a month we have lunch and learns. They are always different topics.
Definitely, thank you
So,
for presenting for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Every one that you ever do, I feel like I learn a lot. So.
Good.
You're pretty tough.